Okay, here we're back again. I opened the door to get more air in here. For some reason, I seem to do well breathing air. I don't know. Okay, how to sell. This is the How to Sell book. How to sell the 6th edition of the encyclopedia. Okay, we're up to the 6th edition now. Revised October 2009. It's the latest. You might have an older one. If you do, write in for the latest. They're usually expensive, $3, $4. I don't know what it is. We print these right here. There's other books we have to farm out to a major printing house, multi-million-dollar presses. This little book here, I tell people who inquire, you have to have this book if you're going to sell our encyclopedia, because it gives you a lot of information on the features of the encyclopedia. And it also contains the basic canvas that I wrote. I wrote the encyclopedia, I wrote the canvas. I wrote a simplified, simple canvas. Maybe I'll have time to show you a little of what I did. Well, actually, what I did is this. Here they are. Basically, anytime you work with selling a book, first you show the front cover, okay? Then you open the book and you show them something in the book, even if you sell a paperback. Then when you're finished, you show them, and he was doing it this morning, Ed was, you show them the back cover and point to the price. And then you drop the price and offer it to them a little lower, or for a donation or something like that. That's a basic way it works. Then the way I do it, we open it here, and they're impressed. This took a lot of extra work, and this cost extra to have these end papers like that. There's 1, 2, 3 right there at the front end, and there's 1, 2, 3 at the back end. So I show them that. Title page. Now I have a little confession to make too, and I'm very sorry. We make mistakes too, okay? But we sent them a correction on this, and this was supposed to say on page 1 and 2, 6th edition. And instead it says 5th edition. And we sent it to the publishing house and they didn't do something right. And so now the next printing, it'll have it 6th edition. And I'm sorry for that. You might just want to a little bit skip over the title page because they might see the discrepancy. Out here it says 6th edition, and in here it says 5th edition. I apologize. We're not perfect, but we're trying, I'll tell you that. And listen, if you don't want to make any mistakes, folks, don't do anything. Sit in a chair and watch television and go where all the people that keep watching to the destination they're going to. But if you want to work for God, you're going to make mistakes, and that's the way it is. Okay, you keep asking for forgiveness and go on. Then we have over here to the, we have the table of contents. We have a beautiful dedication page here. And then we have the table of contents. You can look in every health book you can look for. Every book on natural remedies, and they're little tiny books. But they'll have a table of contents up front, or they'll have an index. Usually they have a table of contents. The table of contents will alphabetically list about 80 to 125 to 150 diseases, okay? That's about it. Maybe one is bold enough to go up to about 175 diseases. And that's it. As you know from this one, it has over 730 diseases. That was a job locating them all and working out the natural remedies. There's nothing like this book anywhere.
Amen.
But this book has both a table of contents and an index. An index. That's very important because of the way I laid it out. I did not do this alphabetically. I abhor, except for the Webster's Dictionary, I abhor alphabetical books. When you go to an alphabetical books, you can't find what you're looking for. Well, let's see, maybe it's under that word, maybe it's under that word. Well, now there could be something else that is similar. Where's that? You don't know how to find it. All the diseases that are alike are all listed together, categorically, topically right together. They're all right there. Anything connected, we talked this morning about arthritis. Anything connected with arthritis, it'll all be there, all together. Arthritis, rheumatism, rheumatoid arthritis, all the different types. What is the difference between this type and that type? Oh, I see. I don't have that kind. I got that kind. Oh, I see. It'll give it to you. All right. Then, and that's a very important principle. Then, having shown them front cover, this here, and hopefully we'll get this title page fixed up, and then I show them briefly into the table of contents. And I show them in there, and I page through a little bit on the diseases. Page through a little on the disease, urinary, respiratory, cardiovascular, see? And then I take them to this page that he uses also, it's in my book, where it takes you right there and shows you what to do for a heart attack. You might wonder how I got that. Some friend, I know not who, about 8 or 9 years ago, sent it to me. This was information, I don't know how we got it, but we got it. And I published it, and then later I put it in this book. So God provides the materials, and it works. The cough, deep breath, just keep that up. And what you're doing is it's kicking the heart into action. It's kicking the heart into action. Great. Okay. After we go from there, now that really impresses people. Middle-aged people, older people. It'll even sort of impress the young ones. Then from there, you go to I go to the table to the index at the back, and I show them in the index. Go through all this, and it not only lists the 730 diseases, it lists all the alternate names for those diseases, which is over 1,500. They're all here. And I was very careful to include every possible name for every possible disease. They're all here. Tuberculosis, also called consumption years ago. Everything's in here. So you can fall under anything. Then on top of that, I went through and put all of the key, most important diseases in bold. So that really helps that. Then in the book, something, and this took a lot of work, but it's not in the Spanish edition, because I don't know Spanish, and I'm just not, that's the way it is. But I do work with it, and I typeset it and all that, and the Lord helps me, but I can't read it just too well. So I have cross-references all through this book. You don't find that in the books. Cross-references. Also see this, turn to that, turn to this, and gives you the actual page number. This is invaluable. And it's good to point that out to people, because you don't get that in other books. You don't get it. Now, you could go right down the line. I could name some, okay? They're going to be alphabetical, like a dictionary. Diseases are not together. They're going to have only a little table of contents, no index.
They're put together by one doctor and or an abbreviation for a medical professional, such as a dietitian or something. You don't know whether they're Christian or not. That's another thing. Okay. They deal only with herbs. When it comes to the herbs, they'll have a cause or two and a symptom or two, and then they'll tell you what herbs are good for it, but they don't tell you how to mix it, how much, how often. They don't deal with hydrotherapy. They don't deal with nutrition like that as well. They don't deal with the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. So many things.
So many things.
So very many things that this book has in it that others do not.
And then with these cross-references, that took hours and hours of work. Okay. Then in addition, the something you said I was going to comment on. I can't remember what it was
You
now.
want me to sell you one?
That's about it. Any rate,
The hydrotherapy.
oh yeah, I was going to mention it. He mentioned whether they're Christians. Some of the the most complete books on the subject, aside from mine, which have about 175 diseases, they'll also give you aromatherapy, smell flowers to get well, or they'll give you or they'll give you yoga and Eastern religions and crystallography, crystal gazing. You look at crystals in order to get well. Paganism, Satanism. You don't find that in here. Hydrotherapy, what about hydrotherapy? I spent several months, one winter, I had collected everything I could find on hydrotherapy. I decided I'm going to write a hydrotherapy book. You can't hardly find it anymore. And I had collected books over the years. I had 3 or 4 good books, including Abbott's. He was a godly man of God. Dr. Abbott, he was back, he probably died in the 1920s, faithful Advent believer. Okay? And I put it all together. In the process, should I tell you? I phoned Loma Linda. I says, give me your bookstore. I want to get, and they switched me over. I said, I want to get a copy of every book you've got on hydrotherapy. We don't sell any books on hydrotherapy. Water therapy, nothing like that. Or I said, well, then I switched over. Give me your hydrotherapy department. We don't have a hydrotherapy department. But the closest to it is our physiotherapy department. I switched over, I got to them. I want every book you've got available on hydrotherapy. We don't teach that anymore. That's a shame, folks. But I worked with what I got, and I put the book together, and now we used to call it the Water Therapy Manual. Sometimes people ask for it. We don't print it anymore. It's in here. It's in here. But in connection with it, I had a special book. It's about that thick, okay? It's thicker than this book, but it's not this size. I have John Harvey Kellogg's Rational Hydriatics, okay? Complete book on hydrotherapy. And I put all that in here also. All the best of that. You'll find all the Kellogg formulas are in here. You'll see them. Kellogg formulas. 97, okay? I forget the number. And so that's the way it is. And after I've done that, I've front cover, and I show them this. And then I show them the table of contents. Go to the table of contents and show them that. And then I take them to heart attack. Then I take them to the index at the back, and then I select one item. The item I select purposely is headaches. Everybody has headaches, the way they eat and the way they stay up at night and rouse around and everything. I take them to there. Dozens of headaches. All kinds of information on headaches. It's remarkably complete between what I had and then what I gathered from Kellogg. It's all in there. That impresses. Then when I think we're done, and another good one, often, and a good adjunct at this, do you have a problem you'd like me to look up?
Amen.
See? And then you look up their problem. I got a little problem with my pituitary or something, see, or my lymph glands. Then I may show them this back here. I may not. I don't show them too much. Oh, I will definitely show them a little about those colored pictures. But then I may show them this, but there are quite a few things in there I never did show them because we don't need to spend an hour or 2 or 3 showing them a book. We make the sale, and if they don't quite, oh, well, Mrs. Jones, I forgot to tell you, I forgot to show you this. Then you take them to a feature close, and you take them, well, look at this. Here it is, find it fast, hydrotherapy treatments, and you show them a feature close. And then they said, well, I don't know if I got enough money today. And oh, you go, then you take them to another. And you yourself, as you saw Brother Ed here, you've got these to go by. And what you do, as I showed you earlier, take it from there. Take it from there, and it's all just like a cat on a rug. There it is laying there. And you can find exactly what you're looking for. And you can also see where the pictures are. They just sort of stand out. I guess they stand out. Ha!
116.
116, he says. See? See? That's the way to do it. Turn to 116. You find your front ones. Then you have the ones at the back. There's 16 pages here. 16 pages with quite a few. And I was determined I had to put in the rashes at the back. 2 pages of rashes and measles, that kind of thing. Because when I sold the old Modern Medical Counselor back in 1951, they had a page of that in there. And people were really interested in that page. That was one they were interested in. It's hard to describe, so I have that in there. And then turning back to 116, right in the heart of the chapter on herbs, I purposely put it there, is a wonderful little section on herb identification. Now you know and I know the people aren't going to hardly use it, but it affects the mind. Oh, I got that material also, and they think this is wonderful. But then I made sure when I was done at the back, I included a section on poisonous plants. They like that. And you'll turn to the chapter on hydrotherapy, and you turn to the back page of that. Well, it has its own index here at the back of hydrotherapy. And there you've got the most dangerous plants. I put that in also. Helps you identify some of the worst ones. The amanita, poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, belladonna, foxglove, tobacco, Jimson weed. These are the most deadly plants in America. And herbs in America, by the way, are similar to many other herbs. And you may or may not know, a good herbologist will tell you, for some reason, herbs in America are very similar to those in China. They're very much. But many of these herbs are in other countries. By the way, what's the amanita? Anybody here know the amanita? If you get a good book on mushrooms, it'll tell you the most poisonous mushroom is the amanita. And this tells you exactly how to identify it. When it's white, it's called the death angel. We have them growing out here. Watch out, your children might pick them. They look so pretty and they look edible. And but sometimes they come in reds and some other colors. But the amanita, it's got it has 3 distinct markings. I won't tell you. Read the book yourself. Page 208. At the end of the chapter on hydrotherapy, it'll tell you what it's all about. So that gives you an idea of what we've got here. And we sell it to them. Okay, any comments?
Again, there's so much to comment on, Vance. It's a wonderful, wonderful book.
Yeah.
There's a great need for it. It's very timely. And it's in counsel with the message. It's the entering wedge.
Yeah.
It's the right arm of the gospel.
I cannot emphasize too much. Get acquainted with this book. Look through it. Get acquainted with this book. You don't have to read every single section on diseases. You don't. But get acquainted with how it operates, with the symptoms, causes, remedies. Symptoms, causes, remedies. And under remedies, I try to separate the categories of herbs and vitamins, minerals, nutrition, and other things. Try to get there. Water therapy.
And then after, go ahead.
And then with that, don't just look at the disease sections. Look at the other sections and get acquainted with them, the ones that come before it. On herbs, water therapy, nutrition. I took some books that are thoroughly complete by naturopathic type people, good people, on vitamins and minerals. I poured it all into here. Now, how do I do it, by the way? I take the data. I can't explain it. My brain can take data, and then I type it. I type all the data in. It's all original. It's all my own wording, but I got it all in there. I don't know. It's something. It's the way I do things, and that's it. So it's a complete section on vitamins and minerals, and then there's some others. Some on good foods, fruits and vegetables. So it's all in here. Then after the chapter on the first 9 months. Some of you know if you've looked at that chapter, it does not look like a beautiful chapter for the ladies. Oh, and in this, by the time I got the 5th edition, I put all of the chapters for women together. So you can turn directly to that if you have a mother in the home, a woman, a grandmother. That's much of what you'll meet in the home and you're going to talk to. And you open to those, it's got everything there for women. A chapter on women's herbs, women's diseases, pregnancy and nursing, a chapter on all the problems you can have. It has a chapter on childhood diseases. It's got all that. But the last chapter in that section is the first 9 months. And what's that all about? The development of the little child in the womb and how terrible it is to kill it through abortion and how it destroys the child and it damages the mother psychologically and physically for years to come. Anti-abortion, folks, that's in here too. Well, how to stop smoking, how to stop drinking, how to get off drugs, a lot of material in here. But we'll close on that. You want to know your book. Know your book. Know your book.
Amen.
Now we're back to here. How to sell the encyclopedia. Okay, introducing the edition, and I've got some pages show all the features and where they're found in the book. You want to read those feature pages. All the features and where they're found. A summary of outstanding features in the encyclopedia. Boom, 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 boom. Go right down there. Next page. The health instruction in the encyclopedia. Right down there. And then page 13. The religious instruction in the encyclopedia. Look at that.
That's very important.
Look at this. That's all the doctrinal information and religious and Christian material in this book. Look at those 2 pages, packed full. Just 1 page, packed full. Okay? Then a section introducing the encyclopedia, and then preparing to sell the encyclopedia, preparing to go out. How do I prepare to go canvassing? Folks, read it. Good, worthwhile introduction to the book canvas. And now, page 25, how to sell it. This is my canvas for it. And it's basically what I showed you. Here, whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, and I didn't tell you the last part. Then I go to the back cover, as every good canvasser will, show them the back cover. And when I go to the back cover, I purposely put certain wording up here for the colporteur. I've got special wording here. Now let's see what it is. And the colporteur, when you show them the book, you don't even have to memorize it. You just read it off. The best folk remedies of earlier generations combined with modern medical and nutritional facts. Oh, really? Complete 900-page, 1-volume encyclopedia. It's actually a little more than 900, but that rounded number sticks in the brain. 11,000 natural drugless remedies, covering over 730 diseases, helping your family for a lifetime for the cost of 1 doctor visit. How's that for closing comments?
That's fantastic.
It's right there. And then you point to the price, they're breathless.
And then you say, what, Vince? For how much?
Yeah. $100.
And up.
$100.
Amen, brother. That's right.
That's it.
I'll take one. I'll take one. Give me 2.
Ed's trying to get this price up to 100, and I'm all for it. Because we want to help the colporteur. We want you to succeed. The book you can succeed with, no middlemen. Okay? I'm all for HHES. I'm all for their wonderful system. They're wonderful people, but no middlemen. You are the people that have to pay the high gas prices since 1973. You are the people that have to wear out shoe leather going from door to door. You are the people that have to get up in the morning, support your family, and go out one by one and do this work and cry to God for help and pray that the angels will lead you to the homes which we're told in the Spirit of Prophecy they will do. You deserve the profit so you can keep doing this and at the same time get out these other good books.
Yes, and it's so worth it. If I told you that I was going to make available to you the counsel of over 30 medical professionals, all famous in their own right,
Yeah.
for a lifetime, what would you tell me that was worth to you in dollars,
Yeah.
Vance?
Yeah, I agree with you.
There's no price you can put on it, brother.
And this is not a fake. All of those names listed on the bottom of the back cover, that's over 30, you see, he counted them. All those names, I had access to their books and referred to them, okay, in the preparation of this volume. See? I'm just thankful God gave me a special work I can do.
Amen.
I can prepare the book in His strength. God gave you a special work. Take the book out and give it to the people. Sell it to them. Make the profit. Hand them free paperbacks or give it to them on a little donation basis. And as you go from home to home and you get a total turn down, reach in your bag, pull out a Great Controversy, pull out a Ministry of Healing, pull out a Bible reading, pull out a Steps to Christ, one or two, hand them, say, well, look, I'd like to leave this with you on a donation basis. Or, if necessary, give the book to them. Every home is victory. Every home is a conquest. Every home you left the message at. Isn't this a great way to live?
Amen.
And as you may know, we put the message in every book. We do not publish Steps to Christ by itself. If you know what our little book's like, a beautiful picture, beautiful flowers on the cover. In a nice print size, it has a complete 13 chapters of Steps to Christ. And then it has, as I recall, I think it's chapter 29, Origin of Evil, of Great Controversy, this Eden to Eden span of it, showing how they fought over obedience to the law of God or rebellion against it, and how Christ saves us. Wonderful chapter. Then a complete chapter on the Bible Sabbath. Complete chapter, a Bible study on the Bible Sabbath, which is also in most of our other books, and it's also in the back of our encyclopedia. Sometimes people have asked me, Vance, why did you write a Bible study on the Sabbath when you didn't just print what Ellen White wrote on it? I have a good answer for you. She never wrote a Bible study on the Sabbath. She wrote on the Bible Sabbath here in Patriarchs and Prophets. She wrote in Great Controversy. She wrote a whole chapter on it in Desire of Ages. She wrote it in other books. It's all over the place in early writings. But she never sat down and wrote a Bible study on the Sabbath. She didn't think she needed to. So I wrote the Bible study, and I hope you're happy with it. Now we come to the book canvas, and I've already told you about that. And I think that, now, after that, after the book canvas, looking back at the table of contents here, I took, could you hand me that book right there? I took the best of the closes and the replies, answers to objections, door approaches, and that kind of material. But it's not all of it, just a fair quantity of it. And I put those in the back here of the house cell book. Okay? You want to go through those. Learn them. It does no good to present a book if you don't know how to close.
Amen.
Well, I have this good book here. Did you want it? Well, all right. I guess not today. Oh, okay. Bye-bye. You have to close the sale. You have to study your prospect and close the sale. Now, when you first start, I should mention that. When you first start, you're going to, let's assume you've never canvassed much. You notice I'm talking to you? I know how to talk. Guess what? You do too. We all know how to talk. We can talk a mile a minute. Everybody can. Even little children can talk. Everybody knows how to talk. But when we say, well, I'm trying to present this book to the people, I don't quite know how to do it. The reason you don't know how to do it is you don't know the book. Learn the book. And first and foremost, learn a canvas. I've written a canvas for you here. Other people have written canvases. I think I have one or two others in the back here. Learn a basic canvas. The one in here that I wrote will give it to you very well. The canvas, page 28 to 32. That's not very long. And that concludes an abundant explanation of how the canvas as you go through it. The actual wording of the canvas is probably only about a page full. There's not much there. Learn your canvas. Say your canvas. Say it again. Well, let's see now. I'm in an imaginary by myself in my own bedroom or my living room, nobody else around. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, I'm supposed to turn to page such and such. I'm supposed to do that, and I'm supposed to say a little. And I don't give you very much to memorize. There's very little to memorize what I give you here. Almost nothing. In fact, you basically can do it without memorizing actual words of content. This canvas is made that way. And you may be as simple-minded as I, and that's the way you'd like it. And I made it that way just for you. Okay? And then you go through, and now there's two ways of doing this. Here's what the professional does, okay? This is the way the professional does it. He holds the book upside down. And he locates what he wants, and he gives it to you. And Ed's pretty good at that. He's probably not perfect. There are people that can read upside down, but I can't. I'm an extremely good reader, but I cannot read upside down. But I've found that if I get the book just as much to sideways, this much, I can read it now. See? And you're probably the same. A lot of you are probably the same way. Some of you can read the book upside down, but a lot of you, you'll have to hold the book sideways, and now you can turn to it, and you can open to it, and you can just go ahead and read it to them. See, you'll notice in one passage there, he read it sideways too. Didn't have it memorized, and you can do that. But notice something Ed did every so often. He did it. This is just a terrific book, Mr. Rockwell, and I wanted to show you. He hands the book. When you get the product in your hand, possession is 9/10 of the law. You want to keep it. I've got this prize, this jewel in my hands. I really want to keep it. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you this here. See, this right here, and this over here, and this over here. And isn't this really outstanding, Mr. Rockwell?
Beautiful.
And he got it in, and he says, "This is a book you need in your own home."
Feels good.
I'm just not quite. I'm just not quite sure. Oh,
Smells
by the way, Mr. Rockwell, I forgot to show you this. And then you turn to another feature, and you're showing that feature. What is it? What are you doing, by the way? What are you doing in a book canvas? You're building value. You're building value. You're showing this is extremely valuable and important. You're showing that you yourself, the canvasser, you believe in your product. You believe in it. You've seen people come in your home with a vacuum cleaner. You've seen them come in with pots and pans. They appear to believe in their product. So you tend to think, well, must be a pretty good product. Well, folks, I'm not too concerned about vacuum cleaners and pots and pans. We want to save those souls and the message.
Amen.
the doctrines they need are back here. And they've got to get those in the home. And Bible promises leading them to Jesus are scattered all through the book. We've got to get this in their home. Teach their daughters to avoid abortion. We've got to get this book in their home. So we show another feature, build more value. Okay?
And I won't want to give it back.
And then you don't want, he doesn't really want to give it back. He wants to keep it. And it's a tug of war in his mind about it, and now you have to help make it easier for him to do it.
I had a gentleman, just real quick, Vance, one time, just demonstrating this principle. We had done that. We'd gone through and shown the benefits, created a need, a desire, and all of that. And I handed it to him this last time, and he took it under his arm like this. He was holding it like this.
Yeah.
And I got a kick out of it. I knew that he had claimed it at that point, and it was a done deal. But I said, just to play with him and toy with him a little bit, I said, you want to take that and show Mrs. So-and-so? And he said, I could make up my own mind.
Yeah.
And he did, right then and there.
It recalls to mind a lady that came into our other office next door, looking over all our books. And first time she saw my End of Time book. It's called The End of Time. The only complete collection of Ellen White's statements on last day events, all categorized, compiled. And she took that book, she went just like that. She wasn't going to do that. I got to have this book. And that's a hardback too. You might like the book. We've got to get my missionary book order sheet and order a copy of it. You'll love it. It'll help you prepare for the crisis that's coming. You want to make them want that book. That's your work. Make them want that book. You pray it through. Pray it through. Father, help me to reach their hearts. And then finally you come down to the very end, and you place the book in their hands, and you've given them the book, and you've shown them the back cover, and you've shown them the price, and you've shown them you can give it to them for $100, and then listen close now. Watch close. You bow your head, don't say a word, and pray.
Amen.
Bow your head, don't say a word, and pray. And the Holy Spirit's working on that person's heart. Can I swing it this month? Can I do it? Can I break that piggy bank? How can I get this money? Do I have some money in the wallet that I can do this with? And you just look down, but you're actually praying. You don't look at them, you look down. They're having to think it through. Now that's an important part.
This is so important. What separates us from the salesman, the vacuum, the encyclopedia, what separates, and I prefer the term soulsman, what separates us is the reason that we're doing it, our motivation, our relationship with Jesus Christ.
Thank the Lord.
And it's prayer, 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 prayer. I don't care how learned you become. I don't care how skillful. I don't care how long you've been in the work. There's no way. What is it that we were told? The greatest science given to man is the science of dealing with the minds of men. There's no way that we could do the work that we're doing without the influence, the cooperation of the Holy Spirit of God and His holy angels.
Thank the Lord.
And we so pray. That's one of the. If we don't get anything else across here, what we want to get across is to learn to work, but to pray.
To pray your way through it.
We need to pray and pray and pray.
Yeah.
Like Joshua.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What was it he did? How did he approach the battle? How did he do that, brother?
There in Joshua 1, when he talked to the angel.
He did.
And he fell on his face. He fell on his face and pled with God for help.
And he did everything that he could do, right?
Yeah.
To prepare for battle as though victory depended entirely upon him.
That's it.
And then trusted in the Lord in faith as though victory relied and completely upon him.
Yeah.
We read in 509 of Patriarchs and Prophets that the secret of success is the union of divine power with human effort.
Thank the Lord.
We have to be plugged in.
That's the way.
We need to do all that we can do, like you're telling us here, to learn these things, but then to pray.
Yeah. And when you go to church, Encourage others to take hold of this work. Tell them what's happening and how all God's blessing and how you're reaching souls. And others will come up, how can I get into this too? Encourage them. Spread the word. Spread it out. You have friends at a distance. Send them some of this information. Tell them, get this series of DVDs that we're making right now. Get them and mail them to them. Say, you got to watch this. You got to see this. This will tell you how to get started. You can support your family. You can reach souls. You can help finish the work for God.
Amen.
People want to know how to do it. They want to know how to do it. And the only way they know, apparently, is go through a 4-year training course after an accredited high school diploma at a college. Go on to Andrews for a year or two, and then hope you get hired. And oh my, folks, no. And I've been through all that. I've had all that training. But what we need is to work for God. And Ellen White says a short course of study and go out and work. She says that repeatedly. We don't need long years of training. You need to know the Word of God, the Bible. You need to know the Spirit of prophecy and keep reading it every day. And I'd recommend write in on our missionary book order sheet, get a copy of it, and order our Spirit of Prophecy cassettes. Well, we now have CDs. Order some of those and listen to them. I listen to them every breakfast, every lunch, every supper. That's what I listen to. And I fill my mind with Spirit of Prophecy. And I read in the Bible. Friends, we've got to get ready for what's coming, and we've got to share our faith. You can't just hold it to yourself. We've got to be like the Sea of Galilee, constantly giving. We can't be like the Dead Sea, receiving the water and just letting it all evaporate and makes the sea dead. We don't need to be dead. We need to be giving, living, a living spring. A living spring is a spring where the water is flowing out, and that's what we need to be like, causing greenness and verdure everywhere.
Brother, if I may, you make a good point. It might not be 4 years of education, but we're also told, the Lord also told us through Sister White, that we should be thoroughly fitted up and trained, thorough preparation, and I like this next word, drill. Thorough preparation and drill. One of the greatest reasons that people have failed to realize success in the canvassing work is because they have not followed that counsel. We need to be drilled. We need to be trained thoroughly.
And he's prepared to sacrifice and give you the training material. And the other aspect of the drill is in the privacy of your own home, memorize the canvas. Memorize the canvas. Say it over and over to yourself. Out loud, say it. Read it and then start saying it. Then take some hapless member of your family and give it to that person. And give it to them, and you'll stumble along, but you're getting better. You're learning to talk. You're learning to express it. You're getting filled with your subject. And then when you think you're ready, and you've really gotten filled with this subject, go out on maybe have your work week already. Oh, good. Go out in the evening or go out on Sunday afternoon, morning, whatever, and start going from door to door. I would recommend, if you're currently employed and you've not canvassed before, don't quit your job. But get the training and learn how to canvass and start canvassing in your spare time. But if you're out of work, you have nothing to lose, and you're going to get accelerated into this. And go at it and learn how to do it. Now, and with this, so you go to the home and you didn't sell. I'll tell you, that book sells. But let's say you didn't sell it. Friend, it's a victory. Consider it a victory. It's not a failure. You gave another canvas. You're giving them at home to your relatives and your friends, and you're giving them to yourself. Now you're giving out. You've gotten to the point you're going to door and giving them. Good. Oh, you're learning things. And then you go back later and let's see, what did I learn from that? Oh, I should have did this. Oh, I should have done that. You're learning, you're learning, you're learning. See? Keep learning, keep improving. I have one friend told me in Eastern Shore, Maryland, oh, is he a good colporteur, HHS colporteur, I don't remember his name. Boy, he was good. Ooh. And I talked to him quite a little bit and got some of his ideas. And some of those ideas are in the Colporteur Handbook too. He said, this is what he told me. He said, we had some extra money in the family, and I went out, and for months, he said, I didn't hardly canvas. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it or anything. He didn't have the training. He didn't know what to do. And but he gradually built it up. And he gradually learned how, and boy, that guy was, oh, is he good? He had a way he could come home and just talk to you like that. It was excellent. One of the things, a secret to canvassing, is you're so self-assured about your product, your book. You know your book thoroughly. You're so assured about the book and its importance and how to find your way through that book that the prospect sees that you believe in your product, you're relaxed, and everything's all right. You're happy and you're contented, and you want him to have this great blessing that you have in this book. He sees that. You're a real, genuine friend. But if you come to him and you're sort of concerned like this, well, immediately he gets apprehensive too, and he's concerned. You don't want that to be. You want to be relaxed, happy, and you give your product and you put it like that. Now, after you've done this a while, this is a transition that's going to happen. This is very important. To start with, I'm trying to remember, let's see, where do I go from here? I'm trying to remember that, without showing it. And what is that? Go here. And then pretty soon I can really show them, and I can go from here to here and here. I'm remembering pretty well now what I'm doing. I'm going on just what to do. Then I go to the next level up. I've really mastered this. I've gotten used to working with these people in their homes, and I'm now to the point I don't have to consider my canvas much anymore. I now give my attention to the prospect. From beginning to end, I can observe the prospect, and I can sense the prospect's attitudes, the man or the woman. I can sense their attitude. Disinterested, not really interested in what you got. Well, then you get through and you see how far you can go, and maybe just give a shorter canvas and get out there. Totally no interest. Maybe they're one of these young people that are immortal. Have you ever met these immortals? These young people that are immortal. They're able to go out and souse all night and liquor and everything and some other bad things, drive fast cars and hit a tree and kill themselves. They think they're immortal. But once they get into their 30s, they know they're mortal, and they're starting to have physical problems already. By the time they hit their 40s, they've now middle-aged. And most of them never reach my age because they didn't know how to take care of themselves when they're younger. But they know they got troubles, and they want your product. But when you get to this and you see this person, they may not say a word, but there's a strong interest here. They're interested. You see it. You know, and you're following along and leaving, and you open to this page and go to this page. They're really they're thinking, boy, how can I get that? I'd like to have that book. You know, they're thinking already. They're planning it out how they can do it. You sense it. And Ed, before we're done here, you're going to discuss the buying signals, the buy signals. See? Answers to objections are extremely important. The buy signals are extremely important. The closes. A close is extremely important. Now, I can let you have this book here today for $100. I want you to have this book. And you lay it in their hands. And you look down and you pray. And then he's not so sure if he can get it. Oh, Mr. Jones, I forgot to show you this. And you keep it going. And now you show them another outstanding feature of this book. And remember I told you got pages full of lists of the features in this book. But you don't show them the features on the religious items, pretty much, because they may be a hard-shell Baptist. But you go right through all this, see? And that's when you really become really successful. When you can understand, what that prospect's thinking and everything. You grasp it, you sense, and it'll sense, and you've got a lot of different things you can say. And by the way, you can even tell some stories. Well, you know, that reminds me about Mrs. Johnston. You know, she really had a problem with this and this, and, you know, and I told her about this and whatever, and boy, how that really helped her. See, and I think you've told me some stories. You've mentioned some stories like that. And gave somebody, I think you told me, I recall you told me, you're the one that told me this story, that you sold the people the book, a man and a woman in their 60s or so, and a little later you saw them in the store or someplace, and they came right up to you. They knew you, and they walked right up to you, and they told you, says, look, my husband, a little after that, started to have a heart attack, and we said, where's that book? And they turned and they found it, and they did it. And he's alive today because he followed the instructions on that page. Now, that story I just told you, you can share with others. Say, I know a man, I have a friend, I know a man that he showed him this book, and this is what happened, and the man's alive today because there's a story for you right there. And by the way, when you have your stories, share them with us so we can share them with still others. Write it out in a little paragraph, send it to us. They'll send it, and they'll pass it on to me, and I'll print it out for everyone else to read. Also, approaches and replies, door approach, beginning the canvas at the door, more door approaches, door replies as you enter the home. Then the canvas, and then additional closes, free book close. That free book close, remember? There's your free book. Time for singing. Free book close. And also, and I can also let you have these 2 paperbacks here too. But that songbook's a good one. And here's something else you can give them. I'd like to leave this here with you today, Mrs. Jones. This is really special. You'll want this on the wall. She buys a book, she's going to get this. Oh, this is wonderful. Well, listen, I wish we had that at our church and our church school. I wish we could put it on the wall of our church school. Listen, Mrs. Jones, you purchase this book today, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 of them, and you can put them. Oh, thank you. I want that. Free book close, mention of free books, reserve points. Now remember, I kept telling you about the reserve and the feature closes, reserve points. Be able to go somewhere else in this book is full of features. The complete listing of herbs, the complete listing of hydrotherapy, and all of the illustrations, black and white illustrations scattered all through. Go to the chapter on emergencies and open to that page that has a whole page filled with what to do, the Heimlich maneuver and others. What to do when somebody has, it's all there on a whole page, illustrated, just what to do. Go to that one special page in the hydrotherapy chapter, the whole page all about water, special water applications, thermophore and that kind of stuff. Okay, then over here, regular closes, assumed closes, additional feature closes, final closes, summarizing the features close. A lot of material there. And then other helps, location of illustrations, even tells you where to find things. It's telling you where to find additional closes and things, additional features. 68 special sentences. These are selling sentences. These are selling sentences. You just wait till you go to those, okay? Special situations. After the order is paid, mentioning the paperbacks. Referral program. Now, Mrs. Jones, this is an invaluable book, and I know you're going to love it. I know you value it. Oh, yes, I do. I'm really thrilled I got this. Well, would you know if someone, who else would you know about your family? Is this and that? Oh, the neighbor next door. What is their name? And yeah, yeah, go and tell them about it. And that's one thing you can always do at a door when you go there. Even you can do it on a turn down. This health book and everything. No, I don't want health books. I don't need health. I don't care about care in my health. By the way, what's the name of the family next door? Well, that's the Smiths. They live next door. Oh, thank you so much. Then you go to the next door. Hello, Mrs. Smith. I'm glad to meet you. Oh, she knows my name. I'm glad to meet you, and I'd like to step in and explain this service that we have with you. So these are little techniques you can use. Okay. And you can always there's a spot in the back where you can put your name and address, and there's a little spot there where you can write if you want. An ordinance problem, local ordinances, the Green River laws. What do you do about that? We sell a book. A colporteur told me about it. The colporteur in Pennsylvania told me this about 10 years ago. I said, Vance, I'm going to tell you where you can get all the Supreme Court precedents. At that time there were 4, but then about 2003 they had a 5th one. Started around 1942, and they've gone all the way through the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court speaks, that's it. That's the law of the land. Congress never diddlers around. They never can get organized, and the president doesn't know what he's doing half the time. Supreme Court said, this is it, and that's the way it is. 5 times in a row, they've protected your right to go from door to door and sell. And you can do it as a sale, or even stronger, especially with something that has religious material in it, which our books do, as a donation basis. So that's what you can do. Okay. Now, then it has all kinds of stuff in it. How the Waldenses sold books, other things. Places in Great Controversy where it talks about the colporteurs. Now, I've got to show you this. 2 more how to sell books, okay? 2 how to sell books. How to sell the encyclopedia, Spanish edition. Now, this has just been upgraded to this new edition. How to sell the encyclopedia, Spanish edition. It's written in English. It's entirely written in English. But everything that you point to in the Spanish edition book, the few items in the canvas that you point to, they're written in Spanish. See the difference? It's all in English, but there's a few items, few sentences that are in Spanish. Maybe you might find a friend that can tell you how to pronounce them properly. Okay, Spanish is easy to pronounce if you know how to do it. It's much easier than English. Now, this is different. This is not the encyclopedia Spanish edition in English. This is the entire encyclopedia totally in Spanish. So this is for our Hispanic friends who want to sell the book and want to go through everything's written in Spanish. And I can assure you, I typeset it, but I didn't write it. I had somebody else do that for me. Okay, there you have the 3 how sell books. Now, do you have something more to add? Now, here we go.
Fine, brother.
Then I produced this book, Colporteur Canvases. Colporteur Canvases. This is a very important book. This has canvases for other books. Hardback are books that are not in that book. Those books are only about the encyclopedia. And this book is the data in here. There are many, many canvases in here. But they're primarily slanted to a paperback. But the principles in here are excellent. You could use these canvases for a hardback. You really could. The points in here, you want to make use of it. This is a book you want to buy and use. But this has actual canvases. Now, it doesn't have them all. And before I want to ad-lib and give you a canvas for some of these books. Okay. Now, here it is, the pipe roll method of selling our books. Remember I told you about, you put the, you walk up to the door and you unroll it, just like you're rolling down a Venetian, rolling down a window blind. Bring it down and you show them the Ten Commandment chart. And it says, I want to, want to present you with a, or however you want to do it, okay? That's in there. All kinds of things are there. Great Controversy canvases, Desire of Ages canvases, Science and Evolution canvas, First Centuries canvas, Hand That Intervenes canvas, Time for Singing canvas. These are all, and some of them are little short, little canvases, showing the Ten Commandments chart. Then, also up in here, we have lead card, supplies, and starter kit. How to obtain leads. Now, some of you are new at this, and you don't know what we're talking about. What's that all about? That brings up this. This is the starter kit. This is the starter kit. Perry, what's his last name? Forget. Perry Loudon. He doesn't live too far from us. He canvassed for about 25 years. And he used the lead card system almost exclusively. Now, Ed tells me he's done them both. So Ed is excellent at lead cards, too, and he can tell you information on that. But lead card is a special way of selling. It's a very effective way of selling, but it has a special deal. With regular canvassing, that tends to fall into two categories, primarily going from door to door in a residential area, or in the country. And you'll find often the poor people, the country folk, they're most likely to buy your book. The wealthy folk, they're less likely. That works that way all the time. Because a person knew how to make the money, he knows how to hold on to it. And he thinks he's very self-assured and very capable. But I think that our encyclopedia can break down his reserve also. But that's one way to do it. Another way to do it, some people do this. They go to businesses. And they walk into a business, and could I see the manager? Okay, and he's always a busy man, so you have to give him a fast canvas. I know one man that just sells them like hotcakes, and he's always going from business to business, so it works. But we're primarily teaching how to sell from door to door. And then, as I said, you can get referrals. You can say, oh, now, Mrs. Jones, you probably have friends and neighbors who'd also like to be shown this book. Oh, yes, I do. Could you give them to me on a list here, and you write them down here? In the back of Colporteuring canvases, you will find, that's a book I have right here too, it's another copy of it, you will find lists. You got daily appointment lists I've made up. You've got daily reports you can make for yourself. All kinds of things. Now you may say, well, why keep all this stuff? Hey, friend, we live in America with the IRS. So you keep all of your receipts, your gas. Every time you buy gas, you keep your receipt on that. Whether by credit card or by cash, keep your receipt. Save it all. And when you bought a suit and you bought new shoes to go from door to door and you have to replace them, you have to get them dry cleaned once in a while. That's all tax deductible with the IRS. So that's worth remembering now. And that's a lot of expense, especially your gas. You know, all your gas, that's a business expense. But you keep all things, you all keep track of everything, all right?
Very important.
Very important. He knows. Then you've got daily appointment calendar if you want to write it down. What these are Xerox masters, photocopy masters. You take these things and Xerox them and you use them. Here's leads. There's a photocopy master, referral name sheet. And there you have your leads. And you can write them down. They've given you these leads. Okay? Other people you can go see, contact. Referral card. Here's a referral card. This here, I made this up just to help you now. You can take this thing and have somebody, you can have a local printer make them, or you don't need to make, you don't pay for a local printer. You just take them and go to any Xerox machine and make copies and cut them into place, and you've got them. Referral cards. Or you can get them printed on cardboard, and you can leave cardboards. I have a book here I'm interested in selling. I have a book here I got back in the 1980s. I read through it. It's by an Italian up in around Illinois, somewhere up there. And he even got on Guinness Book of World Records as selling more cars in 1 year than anybody else. Well, that's interesting. How did he do it? He tells his secrets. You know what he did? You might work out a variation of it. He calls them bird dogs. That's his name. He's secular. B-I-R-D, bird dogs. And what he does, he every time he sells a car, he says, look, if you'll, now this is his style. I'm not saying to use this, but I'm just saying this is how he does it, and you'll get ideas from it. I don't think you need to pay any money. But he gives $100 to everybody that, if he'll send in someone else in to see a car, and he'll give them $100. He was just going wild in sales. You can do it too. But you don't have to necessarily pay to do it. But there's ways to get the sales. Get referrals. Say, listen, and you go to the next home and say, okay, now Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Jones told me to come see you. She got this and she wants you to see that, you know. Oh, my friend, Mrs. Jones, what you got for me? And you showed, and she bought, oh, yes, she did. They're thinking of getting one for their grandchildren. Oh, really? See? And you go from place to place. Now, those are the way you do with regular canvassing. But then we have lead card canvassing. And so, with the blessing of my Heavenly Father, we made up some materials. This is a starter kit, all the stuff that's in here. This kit has a copy of Colporteuring canvases. You really ought to buy it. I sell it to you cheap. Everything's bottom price. Colporteuring canvases. Okay? And you need it because in here, in Colporteuring canvases, right here near the front, I have lead cards, supplies, and starter kit, how to obtain leads. There's very important information there. Then, what you do is you've gone, everybody has done it. You've gone to a professional office, a medical doctor, a dentist, lawyers, all kinds of people, anybody that has a waiting room, okay? But you can even go to gas stations and on their counter. You can do all kinds of things. They don't care. You put the stuff there. And you lay on the dentist, for example, on the dentist's table in there in the waiting room, you lay one of these there. How many have seen that before, okay? And then diagonally, anything on the diagonal catches the eye. Right here. Display copy, do not remove from this office, also available in Spanish. Natural Remedies Encyclopedia, America's Master Book of Home Remedies. Wow, over 11,000, covers over 730 diseases. Well, what's this all about? And it's a little thin book, and they're sitting there, nothing to do, wait till the dentist, and he's always slow, if I may say so. And it tells a little about it. And right stuck here on, and Perry Loudon tells me, where is it? Perry Loudon tells me, he always put it on diagonally. There he is. We had to pay to get all this printed. You take some glue, get some Elmer's glue. Elmer's always glad to share his glue with you, Elmer the cow. And you stick it right here. He was very careful to say, Vance, don't put it there. Put it on a diagonal. The diagonal catches their attention. He knows too. He knows the principle. So you stick it on like that. And it says, take one. Or you can put it like that. See, that's actually, you don't have to creak their head as much. See? Either way. Take one. Mail today. Gives available in Spanish. And they pull out, and they've even got some nice stuff right here. And it has one sampler in here. You buy a pack of these little pockets, holders, okay? These are pockets. You buy from us the display copies. You buy from us these insert cards. Now, and they're in full color. They list quite a few of our books. Now, very important, very important, very important. By mistake, another mistake of mine, I do it frequently, I got our address on it. Don't do this. Put your label over it. And anyone, and I tell that in the Colporteur canvases. If you'll write me, Vance Farrell, you write me and say, Vance, would you please send me a free set of label masters? And I'll send it to you. And it's 8.5 by 11 sheet, exactly sized correctly. And you tell me the name you want to use. It doesn't have to be your own name. Often you don't want one. You say it's health books, maybe. Whatever name you want to use for your name. And often it's best to use a P.O. box number. They can't track it to an actual house. That can be handy too, in times we live in. And your address, see? Central City, Missouri, something like that. Okay? And I'll have it just like that. And I'll have it all there. And I'll send you a Xerox master. I send two copies. And save those. And then you buy Denizen, and there's some other companies too. There's two major companies, stationery supply companies. And they'll provide you with this material. And they are perforated, and you run it through a Xerox machine using the master to work from. You run it through a Xerox machine, and I'm getting a signal from back there. Did we need to stop for a moment? Okay, just a moment. We're going to pause and we're going to come back, just like that. Okay, here we're back with you again. We had a little technical situation that came up. We had to take care of it. So, with this special sheet, with your photo master, and you make all the copies you want of this on this special thing, and then you take your labels, and and they're sticky on the back and everything, and you put your label over there, right over there, so that it's mailed to you. Don't mail it to us. It won't do any good. You'll lose it. I'm sorry, we can't keep up with it. I initially considered doing that with a code number for you. We're not set up. We don't make profit here. If I sold you the book at $20, we could afford to do that, but we can't. HHS does do it that way. It goes into them and has a code number. Perry Loudon had a number. And then they mail him his lead cards direct to him from HHS. We're not set up for that. You're going to have to do it yourself. Okay. Then that is in here. That's in the pocket in the card, and it goes in the front of this display copy. Then we've got this here. And we had to get these printed. And this folds up. Oh, this is going to open up, and it's going to pop. There's a way to fold it up. Perry was an expert at it. He could really do them fast. You just about do them one-handed. And you have it all opened up, and it makes a little box that sits there, and with a little back on it. And it's,
Do you want me to put it together for you, brother?
somewhere. Did you hear that? Here's somebody who knows how to do it. Okay, you watch him while I talk. He's going to put it together. Then we have these here. I guess we still have some of these. Eventually we'll phase these out and put them into this size here. But this is one of them. These are things you put in the cards, in the holder. Desire of Ages, the most beautiful book ever written on the life of Christ. Large quality. Look at how fast he did that. I'm afraid I couldn't. Look at that. There it is. Nice. And historical, medical facts about the crucifixion. Historical facts about Christ before Pontius Pilate. Complete mapping section. 3 indexes. A book that will deepen the faith of your whole family. It'll become a family treasure. Science versus Evolution. Good thing about it. First Century. Oh, wow, that's a wonderful book. Great Controversy. Incredible. A powerful book. A bestseller of our time. Over 100 million copies in print translated into 20 languages. Actually, it's more languages, but you say too many languages, people don't believe you. So I limit the number that I say. That's another one. You have this one. The largest and most complete low-cost home remedies book ever published. It's true. For scope, Kellogg's books were bigger, but they've been out of print for over a century. But he didn't cover the broad expanse of what we had. He didn't have the vitamin mineral data and all that. And herbs, he didn't have much on that. Covers over and all that. You know about the encyclopedia. See? Now, look at this. This one is harder, firmer. It's about 120 paper stock, and this is also perforated, like here and here. And now, here we are there again. Put your label right here, or you're not going to get anything out of this. Put your label right there. So you put your label there, and you put your label here. Notice that they're identical. They're both identical. Okay? And then also, we have a new one we made up not too long ago on the children's books. The Hand That Intervenes, Adventure Stories from History, Missions and Miracles, godly books that will help your children. Each book in this series has the highest morals and teaches the best character lessons. Travel to faraway lands on journeys to help others to live better lives. It took years for the author to gather these true stories of how God guards and protects us. People are going to want these books. So you put your name there.
Show them how they go on the stand there.
Ah, good for you. Here, you do it. You show them. You show them how to put them in the stand. Then lead cards, supplies, and starter kit. Isn't that nice? You can just set it there on your book.
And you just go into the place of business and Mr. Farrell, Ed Rockwell, I'm with Family Health and Education Service. They're doing a special work in the community to try and help stop the juvenile delinquency and the drugs. And what we're doing is placing one of these on the counter of all the major businesses in the community, and this is the first chance we've had to get here to talk to you. Wonderful. And we just wanted to know if we don't want to get in your way now in the operation of your business or anything, but would that right there be convenient? Would you sit that right there?
Yeah, yes, I'd be all right.
All right. And we'll be by every once in a while to make sure that it's resupplied and filled up for you.
Now you know how to do it, folks. That's lead card canvassing. Now you put those, notice what he did. He worked, say, even a service station. Where you usually have certain places you get your gasoline. They're used to, you're paying them money every so often. Put one at every one of them. See? All the different places. Put them there. Set them over there on your book right there. That's the way. Then, if it's a medical dental office where I have a waiting room and there's room on a table to lay stuff, then you've got this. One copy. Okay? I asked Perry about that, and he told me. He said, Vance, he says, you have to be organized. And what you do is you go around and you service all of your places. And I said, well, how many do you have? I don't remember what he said, 30 or 50 or something. Yeah, quite a few. he did this for years, and that's all he did. He'd go around and service them all, and he constantly getting his cards coming back. And then when the cards came back, okay, service them all. He had to keep refilling the little free take one holder, and he didn't put in too many at a time. I mean, he'd go by about, I think he said about every 2 weeks, and he'd go in and he'd service them all, and he had a little route he followed, place to place. He would drop in, do it, and let it out, always friendly and cheerful. And then he'd check, and in the book there, the display copy book, every so often the book will disappear. Also, he puts a new book down. Other than that, he just opens it up to the inside front cover and puts in about 3 or 4 cards, not too many, and he sets that back down. And he leaves, cheerful, hi, glad to see you again, and goes on that and goes to the next place. Okay. Then I asked him, where do you go? What do you do next, Perry? And he's about my age now, but he's getting a little older than I am in some ways. He's not getting around as much as I am. And so he said, well, he said, Vance, the way I do it, I have a map. And I locate them where they are. And of course, he knows his territory. And then he goes to this one, and he goes to that one. Oh, and I don't remember whether he called them in advance or not. I don't.
You mean for the advertising?
The lead cards.
That's not necessary. No, you know your institution's based on the streets that are in your community, and you can go by a street and you just show up and say, hi,
Well, my point was that to make sure of time when they'd be home, but I guess he just went.
Well, are you talking about running the lead or the advertising?
I'm talking about going to the home and following up the leads.
Well, running the appointment system is very effective and very efficient if you're following leads.
See, because he's already made the contacts, as it were, because they filled it out and mailed it in. And they put the postage on the little card. He didn't have postage on it. They put the postage. They wanted that enough. They had put a piece of postage on it.
You'd call him up and you'd say, Mr. Farrell, this is Edward with Family Health and Education Service. I'm calling in regards to the information you requested on the Natural Remedies Encyclopedia. You remember that? You filled it out at Dr. So-and-so's office?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I'm calling, sir, is I'm going to be in the area this afternoon or today, and I wanted to know the best time to drop that off to you. Would 9 o'clock this morning be good, or 2:15 this afternoon be better?
Did you hear that? Play this thing back and forth and get that written down, okay? See? Would 9 o'clock this morning or 2:15 this afternoon be better? Well, no, really it'd be better this evening at about 7:30.
7:30?
See?
Would you do me a favor? Would you give me 10 or 15 minutes one way or the other? Now, I have your address down here as 1288 Myerstown Road, Beersheba. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, now that's just off of 108. If I make a left, is that right?
Oh, okay.
Would you do me a favor, sir? Would you be so kind as to give me 10 or 15 minutes one way or the other? Very good. I'll look forward to seeing you about 7:15.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Now it's about. Notice that. So something happens, you're not there right on the dot. So you have to give yourself a little bit of leeway. Then along with that, maybe that pretty much covers that. He supported himself with lead cards. And one of these days we'll get Perry up here and we'll do this with him too, and he'll tell you what he has to say. In addition, in this starter kit, you got the Colporteur canvases. You got that's one sample of each of all of that. You got a little sheet here that says this is your Colporteur starter kit, and it explains what's in here. And I also put in something I wrote, 20 reasons why America needs a National Remedies Encyclopedia. I wrote it up. These are all reasons why they need it. And you'll want to go through that. Concludes with some Spirit of Prophecy quotes. And then on the last page, something special. Pardon me. The reason for our publishing work. This is from 7 Testimonies, 138 to 140. Write that down and read it. This is fabulous. 7 Testimonies, 138 to 140. 7 testimonies, 138 to 140. Did you know that the work we are doing here, providing you with the books, and the work you are doing, taking them to the homes of the people, or some are good friends, many of our good friends are handing them out free of charge or whatever, or buying boxfuls from us and mailing them to Africa, the Philippines, somewhere else. So our books are going all over the world because we have. Did you know that? Should I tell you the secret? We're the Walmart of the church. We have all of the important missionary books at the lowest prices. Where else can you buy Bible readings for the home? Only here, and from the ABCs. Our prices are a little different than the ones at the ABCs. Very low price. Almost there's hardly a book here, paperback here, that's even 80 cents in the box, plus shipping. Okay, so the reasons for our publishing work, and as I interrupted myself for a moment, what we're doing here and what you're doing and what our other friends are doing when they distribute the books, they're giving the 3 angels' message. It says we're giving the first angel's message, second angel, goes to that, third angel, and then it says the 4th angel. This is the loud cry work. Now, there are people that talk about themselves as being a loud cry ministry and all that. And that's good, and I'm glad the good work they're doing. And there's a broadcasting company that calls itself the 3 Angels Broadcasting. I'm sure they're glad for all the good work they're doing. Well, they're broadcasting about all that's going on in Adventism and what the missionaries are doing. That's fine. Folks, the work is to get the message out, and the message is in the books.
Amen.
Repeatedly, Ellen White calls them, quote unquote, the silent preachers. That's revealing, friends. Did you know that you're taking preachers into the homes of the people? Preachers. Every one of our books has the message in it. They're putting the preachers in there. 20 reasons why. Now let's see here. They are represented by the 3rd angel that followed, quotes it. And in a large degree through our publishing houses is to be accomplished the work of that other angel, the 4th angel, who comes down from heaven with great power and who lightens the earth with his glory. In a large degree through our publishing houses. Now, when you publish a book on this and that and some adventure stories and nothing much going on and this and that, well, that's all nice and good. But you need to give them the books that have the message, okay? Well, we need the little children's books that is good for the children, give them Christian morals, and that's good. But, oh, my friends, they need these other books here. They need them. Okay, that's in there too. And lead card supplies and starter kits. These are other materials that you can get. Oh, this gives you the item on each one of these items. A display copy in pocket. Return reply cards. It tells you how much they cost. Brochure holders. Color brochures. Starter kit. Other beginning supplies. Took a little work to write all this up. How to obtain leads. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 full pages on how to obtain leads. What I've been telling you, all the more detailed right here. Last but not least, we give you this too. This all comes in the starter kit. You can buy quite a few of these things separately, but it's all right here, 1 copy each in the starter kit. So you see what you're getting. You can buy all the copies of this that you want. Okay? Natural Remedies Encyclopedia, the most complete book of low-cost home remedies ever published. How to treat over 750 diseases and all that. HHEF sometimes has had a prospectus, and they've had something to open up. They've also had these big spreadsheets. So far, we've not gotten to where we produced a spreadsheet. But what they would do, they would open up a big spreadsheet, lay it out on the carpet, and show all the books, and then later show the books. Well, I agree that's a good way to do it. But my friend, when you got this thing, wow. And I told people many times, it's opening the book that convinces the people. And when you open it and show them what they can do, bladder problems, cystitis, wow, respiratory, postnasal drip, croup, right down the line.
And after you've given them $1,000 canvas, you've shown them the price on the back there of what?
Yeah.
What's the price on the back?
$135.
But they can have it for what?
They have it for $100.
And up, right?
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
He just about lost his.
Well,
his mic for a moment.
when I see that book starting to fly around, I get a little excited.
He gets excited. Hey, well, we're like Mutt and Jeff. We do well together. So that is all in the starter kit. So you want to order that. You want to get a copy. I think we sell that bottom price. It's only $4 or $5, $3. I don't know. It's very, very, very little. Now it's getting close to the time we should stop for the evening, and we've gone through that, and we've shown you that, and we've got some more to give you, and we're going to give them to you later. And we're going to stop right now, and we're going to have the pause that refreshes. We're going to eat supper. And we're so glad you're with us, and when we have this all completed, we're going to put this on a set of DVDs, and we're going to make them available, and you'll be able to take them at your next seminar. This is what we want. Make them available to the people. And encourage your friends to order a set and go through them. People love to sit and look at something, and we're making it possible so that you can do it in the privacy of your own home, enjoyment of your favorite rocking chair. You can sit down and we can go through this and see what we've got and learn and learn. Get the materials and get ready to start selling for Christ, selling the gospel message, sharing it. Oh, thank you. Without money and without price is what it says, salvation. But it still costs a little to pay your gas, and so you're going to have to sell it to make the money to go on to the next house. We want you to have success, and we're going to pause now, and then we'll pick this up a little later, and we thank you.